Commonwealth's attorney, Gerina Wheathers, is calling for Kentucky parents to take responsibility of their children.
She is now pushing for lawmakers to create laws holding guardians legally responsible for a child who has a gun that they shouldn't have. A similar law that we've seen playing out in states like Michigan. The Commonwealth's attorney of Jefferson County, Gerina Wheathers, is joining us right now. And so, Gerina, you made the news conference last week. It's a popular move by our viewers, but the heavy lift here is you would have to get laws created specifically. What kind of detail would you have? Who would this specifically target for what kind of crime?
Well, we're still working on everything, but specifically, we want to stay in our lane with juveniles that have been waived to our court, circuit court. These are juveniles who have guns that are committing A, B, and C felonies. So we want to be a little bit specific on ours. And that doesn't mean the legislature, they may do something different. But we really are trying to target those juveniles that we have in our court. So we have, over 80 of them that, that are with us now. And because of Senate bill, the Senate and the House bill, we have some tools in our toolbox, but we need a little bit more. We would like to have a little bit more.
Are you thinking this would be the kind of thing where parents would be facing penalties if they have, if the juveniles have a proven record of just getting into trouble one after the other? This would be where parents have just kind of thrown their hands up kind of thing in some cases? We
want to make sure, and I had shared that last week, that there are parents out here that are doing the absolute best that they can. I mean, there really are.
Sure.
And then there are others that other parents that are doing the best, and they're still having a lot of problems with their juveniles. And then what I shared last week, and then we've got parents that are completely detached.
Right.
They're not working with their children. They don't know where their children are. Those are the ones that we're looking at.
You say there's precedence. There is precedence in Kentucky already that gets us close.
Sure.
Is that the blueprint you want to see, sort of the jumping off point?
That gives us, yes, that gives us a starting point where we have something. Your parents can be held liable civilly. They can be held liable with truancy law, and they can be held liable when a juvenile damages personal property and things like that. But overall, Michigan is really our first state that actually, on that level, on the felony level, with district attorneys that actually came in and actually prosecuted, parents, and now they're serving time.
And I think that a lot of people in that case see what happened there because, there were some mental issues with the child. There were social media posts that they ignored. They knew about the gun, things like that. That's really what we're talking about here. We're not talking about if grandparents are the ones responsible for a child that's out of control and they really can't get out there and they're having problems. We're not talking about
No,
that.
we are not. Grandparents and great-grandparents who are actually raising several generations. And I shared that. I mean, I was 21 years old when my mother passed, and I had two siblings, 13 and a 15-year-old. So I understand that there are caveats, there are things that you have to work through, and we understand that. And it's our responsibility as prosecutors in our office to make sure that we look at everything. It's no different than any other charges that we have with our adults. I mean, there's some things that you have to take into consideration before you decide that you want somebody to go to prison for something like
So
that.
looking ahead to the possible hurdles here, we're going to have a quote from one of Kentucky's top lawmakers here in just a second. He would be involved in this, obviously. They agree, the Republicans we talked to, that parents just simply can't let their children run wild. But they also believe that any new legislation would have to deal with creativity, caring, and compassion.
Yes.
How would you navigate that when people are demanding that these juveniles be tried as adults and held responsible?
I think it's very, very clear. I have always said, especially in this arena, you have to be concerned about what's going on in our community. You have to take a side of looking at everything. That's our responsibility. So to me, it comes very, very easy to talk about what are we actually looking at. We have, just like in Michigan, that's very, very specific. But it's also that we still want a family unit to be created in our communities. So we're not trying to tear that apart. It's the right opposite. So, and I agree with the legislation, and I'm glad that they're there. We need to be creative in how we move forward.
We thank you for your time, as always.
you.
Thanks for coming in, being so accessible. Back to this, you know, it's going to need Kentucky lawmakers' backing. So we did ask the House Majority Leader, Republican Jason Nemus of Middletown, about Gerina Wheathers' idea, and this is what he said: holding parents accountable for their crimes of their minor children is a policy that is worth strong consideration. The devil is in the details, for sure, but at some point, parents need to be accountable. Again, crafting the parameters of the policy will take creativity and compassion, but parents cannot simply let their children run wild without being held responsible. From Jason Nemus tonight.